Hi, this is another sample pseudocode question from the IB question bank. So let's read the question. It says, consider the following algorithm where n is a positive integer. Construct the algorithm which performs the same task using a single while loop instead of nested for loops. So this sort of IB pseudocode questions, they don't come that often, but you should know the thought process of solving these questions, right? Because you have to translate this given pseudocode into a new pseudocode, right? You need to transform it. So the main technique of solving such questions, there's no technique, but sort of the thought process behind solving these questions is to sort of imagine what the output would be, right? Trace it out. So you don't need to draw a trace table, but sort of mentally dry run the code. So let's think about it. It says loop for k from 1 to n. Let's take n, for example. Let's take n to be equal to um, 3, right? Again, it's important to understand which performs the same task. So by understanding what task it performs, we can sort of effectively translate it. So I'm going to draw a line here and I'm going to say loop for k from 1 to 3, j from 1 to 3. So essentially it's going to say if k is equal to g, then output k. So j will change. So j will be, j will take the values of 1, 2 and 3. This will also take the values of 1, 2 and 3. Now the interesting thing is that j will, so for one iteration of k, j will do 3 of these iterations, right? J will perform 3 iterations. So technically speaking, the k that will be outputted will either be 1, 2 and 3, right? The reason for that is because j will go from 1, then 2 and 3. It'll reset, it'll come back 1, 2, 3 and 1, 2, 3. That's what it's going to do. It's going to do this 1, 2, 3 iteration 3 times because k goes from 1 to n. And each of those 3 times is going to check if the current kth iteration is equal to the j iteration, right? So that's simple. It'll output 1, 2 and 3. So we just want to construct an algorithm which prints out this but using a while loop, and it's a single while loop instead of nested for loops, right? Another thing to consider here is that because there's a single while loop, they expect us to not use for loops. So for loops for us are closed. We cannot use for loops in this. Okay. So I'd imagine the way we can write it is that we can have k. Okay, let's say k is equal to 1. Okay, I'm going to use the variable k. K is equal to 1. And my thought process behind this is that because the while loop has a boolean condition, right? So we can just say while k is less than equal to n. Now n has to be redefined. I'm just using n as a positive integer. Now while k is less than equal to n, we're going to output k, and then because in a for loop, it automatically increments, we'll have to increment it ourselves. I'm going to say k is equal to k plus 1, and I'm going to end the while. This is all we're going to do, right? Now this is actually pretty simple. It's just a 5-line code. So let's interpret this. The reason I've done this is because this will give us the same output, 1, 2 and 3. The reason I got to this sort of condition was because we know that we have n as 3, right? And it's printing out 1, 2, 3 sequentially. So we can just convert this, we can use this n, and we can make sort of a counter program that just increments from 1 to n, right? That's all we have to do. That's all they're doing. So that's how I arrived to this situation. So let's see if this is correct or not. I have the mark scheme below. It's a 4-marker question. It's not a long question. An independent 4-marker. So an example answer. Fortunately, this is the same exact answer. So this is their example 1 answer. Again, they ask us to give 1 mark for initialization. We've done initialization. The condition for us is correct. Comes from the condition. Comes from the this condition. It's correct. we're printing out the correct outputs. And this changing value of controlling variable, this is this incrementation that we are performing. We also have that. We've gotten all the 4 marks. Now, as you can see, do not accept a for loop and do not accept nested while loops. That's why we explicitly need one while loop. That's why I said that we will not be using for loops. We have to do this with a single while loop. That's also important to note. You can also try this with a j variable if that's more intuitive for you. All that needs is that it does k is less than n. It has the same condition, except this time we're checking if k is equal to j. Again, this is sort of redundant when you can just do this. When you can just do this answer, this becomes a bit redundant, but this is also correct. So these are just example answers. You just have to write some code with a single while loop that has the same output, right? And so you can have different varieties of answers, but these are the important points that it must include, right? So that was this video. That's how you can solve this IP pseudocode question. I believe this comes from the 2017 paper, specifically I think the November session, right? So if you look this question up, I think you can find it. See you in the next one.